working on kind of moving the water hoses. All the water hoses came in here for the water heater. And then I kind of cleaned this area up with some acetone. And there's some rust staining on the gel coat. So I'm going to bring my buffer and cutting paste and all that. And I'll buff all this out and have it nice and clean. And then probably maybe I'll cut like a rubber mat or something to put down in here. I got some old truck mats and stuff. I might be able to cut them to fit in this space, and then it would kind of protect the gel coat as we're kind of tossing things down in here in the future. And then look in here, when I was putting that cover on the steering quadrant and cables and all that the other day, I noticed some of these screws were loose, so I tightened these screws up on the other side of this bulkhead, and the screws are going right into the hose. Like, see how the screws are too long? So yeah, see, there's a screw going right into the hose, and this hose is for the manual bilge pump right there. So you would put a lever in here and pump this up and down, and you can pump your bilge out. Looks like somebody else also noticed this at one point. They put some white tape around the hose. Well, I just cut off the screws that were sticking through the wood, so those won't be poking into my new hose. Went and bought a new length of hose. Stuff's only like $3 a foot, so it was like $14 or something. And pop this off. I brought the heat gun so that I can heat up the end of the hose, because it does not want to go on this fitting. It's a super tight fit, so I think I'm going to heat that up really good, cover this in super lube, press the new hose on. Hopefully I can get it on, and yeah, get this all hooked back up so that it's the way it's supposed to be. Well, it's all smooth now. It's just the gel coat's all stained with this rust. I'm gonna drill these holes out a little bit, and I'm gonna fill all this with thickened epoxy. Well, it looks better than it did. I'm happy with that, and I'll get a rubber mat to put in here to protect the floor and gel coat. So right now we have two sinks, and these are the sink drains. One bad thing about this is the second sink, we don't really use it as a sink. We just store stuff in it. And if you dump a bunch of water in this sink, then it can backfill and it can fill up in that sink and get everything all wet. So this is a ball valve off of the saltwater line, which doesn't need to be here. So I think what I'm going to do is take this off, and I'm going to put it over here with the correct fittings, and then that way water can never back up into the other sink. And cleaning up this area, I sanded all this. I'm just going to put some 5200 around this to seal the wood up. Got her all cleaned up, and got the 5200. Doing some modifications for the Galley in the Catalina 30. I took out the old faucet. I'm gonna save it. Took out the old faucet. I didn't like that you had to try to, do the hot, then do the cold, and find the water temperature you want when you're wanting to wash hands or do dishes. And then also the water's coming out up here, so it's easy for it to splash, over onto the cushions. And I'm not sure I want to put up like some people do, some people put up a shield that goes across here of like plexiglass, and I might end up doing that. But the one thing that I think about when I see those is, what if you're in rough, water and you fall over on it? Like, the plexiglass is kind of a sharp edge. You could hurt yourself or bump your face into it. That wouldn't be very much fun. I might end up going that route anyways. I'll see. But with the new faucet, here's the new one I bought. It has the head. You can pull down into the sink and spray down in there, so you're not spraying water everywhere. And I'm also moving, so the seawater pump used to be here. I'm moving it into the middle. So it'll be regular faucet, seawater faucet, and then it'll be a soap dispenser it just came with that, it came with the faucet I bought. So I figured, why not install that thing, and then don't have to have a bottle of dish soap on the counter. It's just screwed up underneath. So I'm gonna get all this vacuumed up and then install the new fixtures. And there we go, got it all installed. So soap pump, and then this comes up if you needed it to or wanted to, but that'll be pumping out seawater to help wash, and then the new for so that'll be a lot nicer for washing dishes. All right, I'm gonna take my coupling bolts out and do another alignment check now that the boat's back in the water. All right, I've been aligning this thing for about an hour and a half, but I got my 3000s and I can go around to all of them, and it doesn't go through. So it's within 3000s on, and I've moved it and moved it and moved it. So I think I finally got it aligned good. Okay, that was like 2 hours of work, but it's all back together. Motor is aligned within 3000s, and I redid the negative battery grounding, put it on clean metal, and then covered in some dielectric grease so that it doesn't corrode. I might do that with the positive there. I'm just trying to do stuff before I put the exhaust back on, and it kind of blocks things. So next I'll probably redo all this. I need to replace some I need to replace this hose, and I need to replace this fuel line. See, it's got some tape on it. Yeah, I've decided before I try to mount the new fuel tank floor in here, I'm gonna do what I can to try and scrub this out. That's a test spot with some soap and a scrubby brush. So I'm gonna try to scrub a bunch of this black mold, and I don't even know, whatever this crap is. I'm gonna get it wet, get it soapy, scrub it all out, see if I can make it a little bit better before I mount that board in there and get the fuel tank in there where it would be way harder to clean after the fact. Alright, Saturday at the boat, Shelly came with me. Been doing a bunch of cleaning in here, just kind of organizing everything that's staying on the boat and moving a whole bunch of stuff out of the boat that I'm just kind of done with. The fiberglass is still a little tacky. It's just a little sticky, so I'm gonna go ahead and let it dry a little bit longer before hitting it with acetone and then painting all that. And we brought a little wedge platform to go underneath the water heater, but I built it too tall, so I'm gonna have to take that home and modify it. We're gonna run we're gonna run some new hoses. We're gonna run this coolant line. It's got gouges in it. We're gonna take that. This runs all the way back into that back port locker over there for that's for the overflow for the coolant. So we're gonna replace that line, and we're gonna replace the return line, little 1/4 inch return line on the fuel, and we're gonna replace the fuel supply line because I found some damage on that one also. So we're gonna get all those lines swapped out. Today I'm working on replacing this float switch. It's acting up. It doesn't want to activate, and then once it activates, it doesn't want to shut off. So I got the wires all pulled apart here. So the switch up there has a auto, off, and on function, and the auto part of it sends power in on this, and then that goes through the switch and then goes to the pump. This one on the downside has the other wire coming from it, and I think that's when you flip it on and it just bypasses the switch. So this is what I bought to replace it, the water witch. It comes with a 5-year warranty, and it has no moving parts. It's just a sensor that picks up when it's in water. These water witch float sweat sensors were the #1 pick on Practical Sailor, so that's why I went with this one. And it's about the same price. I think this was like $70, and those are $50 to $70, $80 depending on which one you get. So I'm gonna get this all wired up, and then I'll do a test to make sure it works. I'm trying out these new solder stick connectors that I saw online, so I ordered up. It's got solder in the middle and then glue, or the blue strips are glue. So you hit this with a heat gun, and it's supposed to melt the solder, and then melts the plastic case down and melts the glue to make a waterproof and super strong connection. So I just turned it back on, and it did a couple pulses where it turned the pump on. It says that is its self-calibrating. So I got this cup of water here. We'll see when this thing comes on. Yeah, it works. And then it runs for 14 to 17 seconds before it shuts off. I got the switch in there, so it's just attached to the side of the discharge, and I'll have to kind of play with it a little bit. I'll have to slowly fill the bilge up with some water and see, because I don't know if it's going to trigger. I don't know if it's going to trigger when it hits just the edge of that disc, or if the whole disc has to be covered before it triggers. I got the old float switch removed, and I filled the holes with some 5200. Let that dry, and then maybe next time I'm out the boat I'll do a water test to see what depth the pump comes on, and then what depth the switch shuts the pump off, and then see what the residual water level is in here.